So, welcome back into another episode where I review a series. It's been a while, it's been a week, another week again has passed, and the series that I'll be covering for today is, of course, the disaster from Crunchyroll itself, High Guardian Spies. So, first things first, before we get into all those things. First thing to notice is that I will be only talking a very few little, but the drama and the controversy and all that shit, because I don't really care about that much. But so yeah, let's just continue with talking about the series itself. So first of all, the opening song, terrible as fuck. Won't listen to it ever again in my head. It's that bad. It's not just generic. You know, if it's like generic but a good song, it's alright. But this is generic but an awful song. That's what I'm saying. So, however, the opening is not as bad as the ending because at least with the opening you can kind of forget about it. The ending, it kind of stucks in your head, your brain. Just keeps on looping and looping. You know, like the French forever and that shit. It kind of loops and loops and it's an endless loop. So yeah, that's 12 episodes, and I didn't spend a dime watching on this because I'm not gonna give my money to Crunchyroll. Right? I'm not gonna spend a dime. So, episode one. Episode one was. It's not even an episode. I call it a filler episode because it's really filler. Because in episode one we are getting introduced to the characters, right? And the first thing I notice instantly is that whoever makes the audio is bad. It's like they bass boosted some parts of the dialogue because I think the dialogue is just that bad because of course the character writing on this series is bad. But it's not as bad as some shows that I've actually seen. Some other shows who are more bad than this. So when people say that High Guardian Spice is the worst thing ever, it's not. Not really. Especially when it comes to the second half, which, you know, I'm using the standard of the High Guardian Spice. I'm not using the standard comparing this to one like Avatar or some bangers shows like that or Castlevania, you know, because it's not that. From the standards of High Guardian Spice, the second half, from which episode 7 until I think only like 7 until like 9. That's a pretty good, I say so myself, but using the standards of High Guardian Spice. Anyways, episode 1. Why is it so bad? Other than it's just filler. Number 1, we don't really get to know what is a guardian means. That's, you know. And also the animation, there's a lot of animation errors, things like that. There's even a PNG of lamppost and a bread, which is very jarring, right? Compared to like the style of the animation, like it's very noticeable. Like you can see that it's a PNG, and it's, you know, when it's that noticeable, that's a bad thing. And then moving on, we have a couple of other bad things. Is that it's like I think it was 2 minutes or 3 minutes of the freaking episode is all about a bird mating ritual, which is kind of and then they didn't brought it up, so it was like pointless. Like what's the point of showing that? Like it doesn't serve any purpose. And then we move on to episode 2 and 3 where we get into the academy itself. And here's when the character writing's, you know, really, because it's so bad. There's some like cringy jokes. Like like the joke is being made by someone who is well above the edge, trying to, how should I say this? Trying to keep on updating with, the memes of the, the current age people. Basically, is what I'm saying. So it's just not funny. It's just not funny. Of course, again, jokes are very subjective. If you like the jokes, then it's okay. But for me, it's just not funny. It's cringy. And then moving on, we have the character itself, some of the characters. So I'm going to talk about some of the characters. For number one, the Headmistress. Now some people might like the granny. I myself found her annoying as hell. It's like, this is a quirky character, shit like that. It's annoying. For me, that's annoying. Because especially like the dialogue is just so bad. And then we got to the character itself. For me, the best ones are definitely Amaryllis, Ollie, which is the second part, the cat girl, Thyme, and Parsley. But I think for like overall, I say Ollie, and that's because at least in my, if I put it on this High Guardian spicy standard, at least she has the most decent voice acting, is what I'm saying. Parsley is alright, again, just decent voice acting, because the voice acting in this show is so bad. But I think it's mostly because some of the voice actors just wasn't in it. They wasn't in the mood, or probably because they know that the show's gonna bomb, so they just gonna, make the least amount of effort they can do. Even Ollie, which I said was, her voice actor was a Stephanie Shea, so if, I only know her because she dubbed the Fate series as Ilya, and she did a fantastic work there. Not as good as the Japanese, but well, in my eyes, but it's a pretty good job there. But in here, she, just doesn't put in the effort, and I can see why. I mean, if you if you are working in a High Guardian Spice, there's no way, right? I mean, they know this is just gonna bomb anyway. And then I think, other than that, is because the script was just such a mess that, when you voice act is, when you have a messy script, you can't really express the words, you can't really put it into some things like that, or you just can't act out in the way it's supposed to be. And, I myself is very into voice acting. I've been trying a couple of things, so I understand when messy scripts like this, usually the last saving grace is the director, the one who direct all the voice acting, and the sound director, all those shits. But again, I said the audio mixing part is so bad, so I guess the sound director is also, kind of doesn't know what he's doing, or he's just not putting the effort. So there you go. It's just a beautiful mess of disaster, collecting each other. And then we have, some of the other characters like Snapdragon and all that shit. Let me say this. The one thing I noticed about this anime, no, not anime, sorry about that, cartoon, guys. Sorry, slip of the tongue. Sometimes it just happens like that. This cartoon is that, do you notice that all of the parents, and I mean all of the parents, are bloody, like, wrong in a very, very extreme way. Number one, you got Sage's parents, who are very, very, like, by the book, like, you need to go old magic all the way, don't care, don't give a shit. And then you have Rosemary's parents, which are confirmed, either, we already confirmed that the mom is evil, the father is, we don't know, and the little brother is possibly Mandrake. you know, and then that emo kid. So yeah. Other than that, it's just like, then I think like, oh yeah, Parsley's parents, dude. Parsley's parents' is problems. You wanna know how can you resolve their problem? Simple, just stop fucking. Like seriously, just stop fucking. It's simple. Also, from episode 1 until 6, it's so bad that it made me. Now, this is the first cartoon or any show that has ever put me into a half sleep mode while watching. Like, I'm literally watching while doing this. Yeah, like half asleep. Like, so bad that it makes me want to half asleep. And mind you, I binged this show in one day. I binged it in one day. And yeah, it's that bad. Then moving on, we got the bloody the bloody plot, right? It's they want to become guardians and all the things like that, but it's not really explained. And then here's what I want to get into. All right, the soundtrack. Now, if you guys don't know, I'm a very soundtrack type person, heavy. For me, however, of course, before that it's animation. For me, it's animation, soundtrack, then voice acting. That's like my type of like categorizing anime taste. So of course the animation was a bomb, the voice acting was a bomb. So what about the soundtrack? So the soundtracks, there were some good ones, generic but pretty good. There were some who a lot of them bad, just bad. And then we have some of the worst representation. Then we have some of the worst representation of males ever. So, number 1. Alright, I'm not one to speak about things, but the dialogue between Sage and Snapdragon, talking about, you know, friendship between women and friendship between men is different. I get it. But the way they say it, it's very condescending. It's like, yeah, I like men, but, you know, it's like that, but, and it's just like, also the way just they speak is so bad. And then we get into the Aster incident. Again, toxic masculinity. Like each and every single male characters are bad. Like there's Kyle, there's fucking Aster, and like the other representation, like they just have either just bad characters or bad voice acting. For example, like Slime Boy. I don't get what he's saying all the time. I just don't get it, you know. And I checked out. Turns out his voice actor was a musician. That's why he sang the song on the festival. You know, when the Rosemary goes to sit down. You know, that's that song. Of course, he's a musician. He makes that song, but that's a terrible song. But anyway, moving on. We have Parnell, which again, bad voice acting, because I think bad voice acting or the character itself is just a huge crybaby. Although I think in terms of like, if we're talking about actually power scaling, Parnell is actually one of the strongest characters from all the students in terms of like combat wise, because from the training that they have, Parnell wins. Like he's just that good. But enough talking about that. Moving on, we have the other thing that we want to talk about. It's just that the scene, the I am transgender scene. Now, do I love representation? Yes, I do. Because, for me, myself, I want every people to be represented. I want every people to be noticed at, and so on and so forth. But, here's the thing. When you make a story, don't put too much exposition. The rule is show, but don't tell. That's the rule when making a good story. Like if on a world building or making a character, show, don't tell. A good representation, a pretty good representation is, Sage's cousin. Like, we were never told that they're a lesbian couple, but we know they are a lesbian couple. Because we already know, just show, don't tell to us. For example, if you already know that they are a lesbian couple, then the anime then the cartoon says, here's a lesbian couple. And that's a bad representation. And that's exactly what happens with Professor Caraway, with the scene with Rosemary. And that scene itself is very awkward. Because when they both talk to each other, right? Like, I'm transgender. And the first thing that she says is like, wow, that's new. I mean, like, new. Really. When your own friends' cousin are lesbian couples. Really. That's something new. Like, really. Like, that's shocking to you. Like, it's very weird. Then we have just some plot continuities that it's so broken. For example, when Mandrake burns the entire school, right? We get the notion that, new magic can pretty much do about anything. However, in the show itself, new magic just sort of does nothing. Like, literally nothing. From what I see, new magic causes more problems than actually solving the problems. For example, this is because, of course, the character itself is inexperienced. Sage killing the dragon, the sea dragon, right? But that's new magic. It kills the sea dragon. Problem, right? It causes more problem, causes more grief. Also, that's a good thing, is that this show actually has some consequences for the characters. The characters doing mistake actually have consequences. They actually have to pay for it. That's one of the good things. And then we have, just a bunch of exposition, like just showing. And then we have Cal. Now, Cal and the demon, voiced by ProZD. I just want to say, that character, I hate him. I actually hate him. And that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing, by the way. That's a good thing. Because you are meant to hate him. But, again, this show, all of the male characters are all bad. And all the good ones are transitioning into female characters. Which is like Fivehead, right? Like, it's just, why? Why even bother, right? Making a good male character, right? When all the male characters wants to be female anyway. And then we have the other bad news is that why in the hell Sage, yes, and I mean Sage, bitch about the magic so much? Like, seriously, on episode 3, she says that she's gonna master every single magic tool there is, including new magic. But then on the next episode, She argues about using old or new magic. Why is that? Why is that? Like, what the fuck is that? Like, the dialogue, the character writing is so brainless. Like, excuse me, I'm not a good writer, but at least I can see that mistakes. Also, that also means another good thing for all of you future writers. High Guardian Spice has set a new standard for you guys to not follow. Has set a lowest, the absolute, well, it could be more low than this. There are some shows that are lower than this that I've seen. But for all you future writers, just don't do what they do, okay? And that also means that hopefully more people who has actual good stories, get noticed, because I like that more. And yeah. Now moving on, we have the second half. The second half where the plot finally kicks in. First and foremost, I want to say that Mandrake is the epitome of what we call a comical villain. He's the epitome of that. When he fucking meets a rabbit, he wants to break his neck. Why? Because he's just built like that, Like, I love a good edgy characters, but that's too edgy. When it's too edgy, that's cringe. You know what I'm saying? And then now the backstabbing scene when Ollie backstabbed Mandrake, I think that's okay for me. But I think out of all the characters, for the villains, Mandrake, even though he's a comical villain, he's probably the one, like, actually follows. Because if we look at Rosemary's Mom, in the end, because that's bullshit. Holy shit. Like, what were they thinking? They think that somebody is gonna make a season 2 for this? Okay. Now, this is no offense to people. No offense. This is no offense. If you enjoy the show, however it is, that's fine. However, for me, myself, even though I enjoy the second half, I'm not gonna say that the show is good. Because it's not. It's not a good show. There's a lot of things mismatching, wrong, a lot of wrongs. And there's some people who actually defended this piece of trash. Like, I'm sorry, but what is wrong with you? What is wrong with you people defending this show, that this show is good? Or maybe, sometimes for people who says like that, there's actually, people that don't like being assumed. Right? But I'm just gonna say this, because I don't give a shit. It's either they don't watch enough good shows, or this is the first show into the genre of Mahou Shoujo, magical girls. Which, if that's two of the case, that's fine. I can understand if this is your first Mahou Shoujo anime, I get it. But what I want is for all of you guys to check out other ones who are actually good. Like Sailor Moon, the old classic Sailor Moon, Cardcaptor Sakura. Also, the funny thing is about Cardcaptor Sakura, since somebody on the comments, because I read some of the comments in Crunchyroll's comment section before it all got deleted. Some of the comments section says that because all of this is made by a woman management team, an all-woman management team, we have to respect it. We have to understand it. And maybe sitting here and be like, maybe you never heard about Chobits, maybe you never heard about Cardcaptor Sakura, because it was made by Clams, which is a studio which is filled by all female writers, animators, mostly writers, all women. So there's no excuse. And then we got into the animation side. Now the animation side is made by South Korean people. And for me, I think what happened is because for the animation to be that bad is either they don't get paid enough. Because I think the budget that we provided, that the people provided for the Crunchyroll actually doesn't get into the animators as well. Because the animation, from the background, from what I've heard, is that the South Korean company works on projects like Sekiro. And Sekiro is a fantastic work, right? So, again, no excuses. I think that the Crunchyroll just doesn't pay them enough. And that they all, either they or the women's who directed it all. And now we get into the political side of things. SJWs and I don't think so. I don't think this is SJWs. I think this is a very, very just in your face, like, LGBT things and like that. Now I also know that the writer tweets out "kill all men" that shit, but it's her decision. Yeah, but for me, it clearly shows that the show is directed for killing all men, because all the male characters in here are all fucking toxic. Yeah, like Snapdragon's dad and Aster are the epitome of toxic masculinity. There is either toxic masculinity or just straight up just transphobic characters like Cal, but the scene when Snapdragon punches Cal, that was a good scene. That feels satisfied. And then we have, this is gonna be a very, very long video, guys. So you just gonna have to hold that. Overall the show it's just bad, right? And then we get to Thyme. When the scene with the demon. Now I don't know about you, but why is the demon look like something straight out of Pokemon? Especially with the grin, with that grin, it looks like a freaking Pokemon character. It's more of a joke as well. It's like, if you're a demon, and if you're powerful enough, you should be able to defeat those two characters. But of course, you're dumb. You're a dumb demon, so you get trapped and killed. Also, the mature content warning. That's bullshit. What? Mature content because of blood? And also, this is also another topic that I want to talk about quite frankly, quickly. About family-friendly, policy. I hated it. I miss old animes where when we punch or we shot people, there's actually blood. I miss that. Sure, that's brutal or whatever it is, but that's a good thing. And then because of that thing, now we have a bunch of animes with they got punched, they only get bruises and shit like that. There's no actual damage to the character. So what even the point, right? Perfect example is like Dragon Ball Super. They punch, but they only get a bruise. It doesn't make sense, right? I miss the old Dragon Ball, but before the family-friendly policies. We don't get to speak cuss words or things like that. I hated it. But the mature content is when they see when Amaryllis say shit, bastard. That doesn't warrant mature content. And the blood itself, that doesn't also mature content. Alright? I'm just saying it out loud. And then we have to the other good part is the fight scene. And I think someone, or either they get a money injection boost, because the animation went up from being very meh to decent, and I like it. But again, also the conflict between Sage and Rosemary about why they fight is very stupid, very dumb. But again, what can you expect from a dumb character writing, right? Like they got Shank, they got this and that, but the one thing that pisses them off is because this person doesn't want to follow this person's wants, even though on the festival, Rosemary already follows Sage and the entire group together. You know what I mean? And then the scene when Professor Caraway says, we, party together. Does that imply they have been into that kind of party? I'm not gonna say it because YouTube doesn't like the way I say it. But that kind of party, you get what I mean. And then there's this, and then we get to what I think why Professor Caraway becomes a male. You know why? Because she wants to bang. Just bang, bang, bang. Rosemary's mom. It's simple. And one of the actual thing that if you guys know this, is that on the end credits, Professor Caraway is talking to either a male or female, I don't know, on the alleyway. This scene. So I think Professor Caraway just one of Rosemary's mom. There you go. And then we have potential season 2, guys. Woo, that's the ending, right? But no offense, please don't. Please don't. Like Crunchyroll, listen. Your original has been bombing really hard. We got Tower of God. We got whatever. I've already forgotten the name. The fighting anime. It's like those two. For me, Tower of God is at least decent. Tower of God is I think for me is like 8. Oh, God of High School. Yeah, God of High School adaptation. The fight scenes, the choreography was on point. Other than that, it's a pretty shit show. Don't watch it. Don't waste your time. Unless if you just like the... for me, God of High School, what you should be doing is just watch the fight clips. And that's it. And then, if you are interested, just check out the manhwa yourself. Then you have X-Arm. Then you have High Guardian Spies. So that's 4 originals that you bomb pretty hard. And what I think you should not be doing anymore is making originals. Crunchyroll. Just stop making originals. Stop taking people's money and trying to make things that they don't want. Get what I'm saying? Like Tower of God and God of High School. Why does people don't complain as much? Is because it's an anime. Of course, it's a manhwa from South Korea, but it's an anime made by an anime studio. It's still categorized anime, not a cartoon like a High Guardian Spice. But X-Arm. Here's what like the most optimal way to watch X-Arm. Just get drunk, or just don't care about the plot. Just laugh the entire way, because I actually XR, I think I laugh the most since I've been starting watching anime back when I was still a kid. Like XR makes me laugh so hard because of how bad and laughable everything is. And then High Guardian Spice, first anime to make me fucking asleep for 6 episodes before it actually wakes me up. So yeah, the review, guys. If I have to give a score from like 1 to 10 scale, I'll give it 3 or maybe 2. Yeah, 2. Because next time is 3 because it makes me laugh so bad. Yeah, 2. And that's it. That's just the way it is. And for the people who say that this show is good, I just hope the best in your life, and I hope that you find other better shows than shows like this to say that this is a good show. That's all, folks. And I feel like my talking and everything, and I'm very sorry, because at this current day and age, a lot of people just, when you say things that for them is like hurtful, they just wanna hurt you back or something like that. So I'm gonna say in advance that I'm sorry if I offend any people by watching this video. I'm very sorry. And yeah, that's all. So thank you guys, and see you guys next time when I actually have the time to make another video again. See ya.